put it into that the page that we talked about, because if we can put everything into that page and direct everyone to the page, it should be done. But I have not had the time to get the cheat sheet sorted. Will do, and I will distribute it.
Okay.
Because so the governance is usually things like the forum post and the GSE handbook and that sort of stuff. Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Anyway, jump in anytime you feel I'm missing out something.
Oh, you'll be fine. Those are.
I just got the cheat sheet. I was going to do the cheat sheet, but IRL just got a little crazy.
Oh,
so.
Oh. Well, I am parked outside of a gas station with my Starlink.
Starlink. I wonder if we can get Starlink on this side of the world.
It's coming. I just see there's a bunch of articles that got published a couple months ago or a month ago about Elon Musk, really is getting ready to, basically the whole African continent's about to have access.
That would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Well,
that would be amazing.
It's not cheap. Like, I don't know. Like hopefully they're not going to charge Africans the same amount that they're charging Americans. I don't know, but I guess even still, considering they don't have the structure for good internet, I guess maybe if they could pay $135 a month, then yeah. But you could also, they could, share it much easier. You can get a village, with a couple Starlinks, and probably the whole village, would be wired up.
So, yeah, the possibilities are quite amazing going forward if Elon can actually do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's more as I think, as long as he can sell his satellites, in the African continent, or the receivers, then it shouldn't be a problem, because the satellites are already up in orbit, and eventually the globe will be covered. They start at the North Pole, and then they've worked their way down to the equator, and then back down to the South Pole with their coverage.
Amazing. I need to read up on that. I need to read up on a lot of stuff. Okay, it's 9:05. I think we won't wait around any longer. We'll just get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the How to Governance session. And Ernest and I have actually got this together to try and let the newcomers understand how the DAO actually works, the process that goes on with the voting of proposals and approving of a bank that's required by the different guilds. So it's a walkthrough of the missions and the vision. So we'll start with the mission statement. And all of what I'm showing you right now is actually of the Constitution and the handbook that the GSC had generated last season. So I will put a link to the handbook in a cheat sheet that I'll send out to everybody who's actually here. So mission is a user-friendly on-ramp, for people to discover decentralized finance through education, media, and culture. So this DAO is an education, media, and culture DAO. So that's the overall mission. And then if you look at the vision, it's basically so that everybody can have financial independence, effectively bankless, decentralized work, and a creative accessibility for all to get in without any barriers. So if you go down a little lower and we get into the granular bit, so what are the values of the DAO? They are education, primarily, integrity, decentralization, which is effectively the, ethos of the crypto community, and culture. So DAO governance is basically how we decide what we want to do. So most of the decisions regarding governance is we do governance on treasury, we do governance on projects, proposals, are all done through a democratic process. So if you hold bank, then you can be part of the decisions that are made within this community. Now, the highest level of governance, the highest level of sort of voting is actually held on an off-chain snapshot. And once it is done on snapshot, that means it is used for very high-level DAO changes. So it is a formal ratification of something that we fundamentally want to change within the DAO's decision. Okay, so the routine decision, things like what's going to happen inside the guilds, or what's going to happen with who's going to be the role holders, or elections of the GSEs, is all done informally within the Discord channel, within the forum post, and within the voice rooms. So basically, increasing level of involvement within the DAO. So you can have a Discord channel, so it's maybe like an education guild will do whatever it wants to do within its guild. And then if somebody has got a proposal that is beyond the guild level, then they will put it in the forum post. And sorry, one level lower than the Discord channel is the voice rooms that we have within each Discord channel. And so that's increasing level of consensus. And what we use for that is what we have a bot called the Sesh bot, and the Sesh bot allows us to hold polls. So that will be the first level. And then we have got a forum post website where we post forums, which is the second level. I'll go through it slowly. So what we call a soft consensus is what we call stage 1. So it gauges the support within the community via the Discord of what we want. So if you're looking, the classic example is if you have an idea that you want to put out, then you go to a channel, a voice channel or a Discord channel, and you start talking. You put in a proposal and say, hey, I'd like this idea. Is anybody else interested? And you try to get what they call a scope squad together to try and see whether there is interest in that particular project. So that is the first stage. So you gauge the support of the guild. Now, if the guild, if the particular, you get enough consensus from enough people to say, yes, it's a good idea, we need to actually try and do something about it, then you go to the second level. Now, these ideas are not just, guild specific. If it's guild specific, it'll stop at the consensus. So within the guild, soft consensus and polls is enough to change a governance within a guild, or to do some project or within the guild that requires money. That is within a guild. The guild and the community of that guild will decide it. But if you are going above the guild, that means you're talking a little bit more higher in the DAO, then you come up with what they call a formal proposal. So that's stage 2. So stage 1, you pass, you get like what they call a temp check or a vibe to see whether the proposal is good. Then you go to a formal proposal. Now, formal proposal has got a formal proposal form. We'll put all of these links for these forms in the cheat sheet and send it out to everybody. But this is a formal draft proposal. So you put the proposal in the BanklessDAO forum, which is a website that you go in and put the forum. And in that forum, you have the ability to look at the proposal and comment on it. So everybody within the DAO can go into the forum post and give their view about it. And the people who actually started this forum post will have to respond to every single feedback or comment that is put in the feedback column. Okay, so and then they will have to reach a consensus. And before I do that, there are two types of forum proposal. Oh, hang on. There are two types of forum proposal. One is a grants proposal when you are requesting money for this particular proposal. And the other one is improvements to the BDAO GSE, the actual document, the handbook, changes to the handbook. So BDAO improvement proposal. So these two will need to go to the forum. And then we will have to debate and feedback and do what we need within the forum, okay? Then you have the forum voting. This voting is one vote per user. So it's got nothing to do with bank. It's got everything to do with you being a member of BanklessDAO. So in the forum voting, each member has one vote. Forum voting is not weighted, it's not gated. Now you need to, for the proposal to pass, you require a 70% approval. And if the amount requested is less than 1 million bank, the proposal has to be on for 1 week. More than 1 million, 2 weeks. There is a quorum of exactly how much voters need to be in the quorum based on the amount of bank that this particular proposal is asking for. So, example, all of these, the table for the quorum and the amount of bank is in the GSE handbook. So, like I said, we will send that to you as a cheat sheet. So, example, if you are asking for something less than 25K bank for this particular proposal, then your quorum has to be 25 people need to vote. So it's 25 people voting to have a 75 yes or a pass approval for this forum to pass. Now, once the forum has passed, then we go to a snapshot vote. We can stop at the forum voting if it does not affect anything specific within the DAO. Then we will be able to say, okay, fine, that's it. We'll get it to the grants committee. The grants committee will actually monitor the proposal with KPIs and as they go along. All the money is not given to the proposal at one go. There is a KPI measurement going forward. But if it is like a change to the documents or a major change to the constitution of the DAO, then we take it to a snapshot vote. The snapshot vote, like I explained earlier, is an off-chain voting tool. And almost every DAO in existence uses a snapshot vote to vote for a DAO-wide change. Now, the snapshot vote is by the number of tokens that you have. So the more tokens that you have, the more voting power that you have. And this is a DAO-wide vote too. And the proposal runs for 7 days, and it requires a 66% approval. And 66% approval. So anybody who has bank will be able to vote in the snapshot vote. So that's stage 3. So like I said, granular from the bottom all the way to the top. So not everything needs a snapshot vote. But anything specific in the change to the DAO definitely needs it. Once the snapshot vote is passed, then you have 2 options. So if it is concerning money, if it's a huge amount of money, then proposals do need to go to the snapshot vote because it is going to affect the treasury of the DAO. So once it passes, if it is a proposal for money, then it goes to the treasury multisig, and the multisig will initiate the transactions. If it is a proposal for a BanklessDAO improvement proposal, then it will go to the Ops Guild, and they will update the constitution and the handbook. Right. So this is DAO-wide, is what I've been talking about so far. But what is governance of subunits within the DAO? So the subunits within the DAO, there are two major subunits. One are guilds, three actually. One are guilds, one are projects, and the others are autonomous projects. And guilds and projects are joined together. Autonomous projects are one, and then you have media nodes. So guilds, they are basically talent pools for projects. So they are professionals associated with particular guilds like the Education Guild, the Writers Guild, the Dev Guild, so that you have professional associations with that. And the main focus of the guild is to onboard, educate, and build a community within that guild. So the guilds submit a funding proposal to the grants committee every season. So this goes into the forum post at the forum proposal level, and all it needs to do is to pass that proposal level. Once it passes it, it goes back to the what do you call it, these multi-stakeholders, and they will be the guilds will be given their requested banks for that season. This is usually done at like a week or two before the season. Within the guilds, once the season's over and the money has been given to the guilds, within the guilds, there will be projects. And within the guilds, you can have self-managed units that actually have projects that the guild will decide whether it passes the project or not. That doesn't necessarily need to go to the forum proposal level. So each guild has their own multi-sig wallets, and each guild has their own governance. So this is a sub-governance beyond what the guild governance, the DAO governance is. Right. So the next one is projects. Autonomous projects is somebody that comes up with a project that they would like to propose. And the difference between a guild and a project is a project usually has a defined end game. So there must be something that is achieved within a defined end. So the proposal is submitted through the DAO governance process. So if you need money for this project, then you have to go through the governance process, which is the forum post. Okay, so some of the autonomous projects that have started become guilds if there is a need for it to continue, if there is a structure that allows it to continue within the DAO itself. The last one is media nodes. So these create content. A lot of the media nodes are the international media nodes. So they will try to get a revenue. If the media nodes can make money, or any nodes, any guild for that particular example, if they can generate a revenue, then they will have a revenue share agreement within the DAO, or within the DAO or the entity. So this is the different kinds of sub-units within the Bankless DAO that actually have governance within themselves, or they require, like projects and media nodes actually go up to the level of the Bankless DAO governance. So they'll have to go into the forum post. For guilds and guilds project is a subunit within itself that can actually work within the treasury that it has. Okay. So the individual units, like I said, they have their own governance document within that will talk about how how roles are elected, how the governance proposals are modified, what the quorum is, how many people can vote, or basically even who can vote. Some guilds don't allow, even if you have that particular guild tag, you have to be within the guild for like a season for you to be able to vote. So that is completely independently decided by each individual guild. Okay. One of the other things that's important within the DAO governance is what we call the grants committee. Now, the grants committee is the committee that will actually work on approving once it's the seasonal funding of the guilds. So at the end of every season, all the guilds will send up a formal proposal into the forum post to ask for funding for the following season. So the grants committee is that committee that actually does the approval. We do go and vote it, but the grants committee looks through it and then puts it on the proposal, and then we go and vote it in. So the grants committee is basically like a vetting group. They check through it and see whether it makes sense, whether it is more or less than what has been asked before, and they track to see that the KPIs of the guilds were met for the last season. So this is part of the the transparency of any DAO. So the grants committee consists of 5 to 7 members. The quorum is 5 members. So anytime a decision has to be made, 5 members have to be present and voting. They have, within the 7 members, there will be 2 grant leads. So these are the sort of people who actually have the responsibility of organizing and leading the other members within that particular committee. They serve a 6-month term, and they can leave at any time that they want, and then we'll have a new election. The grants committee is elected by the DAO. So everyone in the DAO will have the opportunity to vote for people within the grants committee. The people who'd like to submit their names for the committee position will have to then justify why they feel that what they can contribute to the grants committee. All right. Then like I said, the election of the grants committee is under the governance of the DAO, and the guidelines are listed in the handbook. And we just started the constitution and the community handbook last season. It's brand new. It's version 1, and we will put that in the cheat sheet when we send that out to you. So that's about all I have. Any questions? Ernest, you want to add anything that I've left out?
Nope, sounds good.
Okay. Any questions, guys? It seems very organized and very structured, what we're talking about. But we are a DAO, and the DAO we're trying to have autonomy, and we're trying to have decentralization. We're trying to be different from a traditional organization. But decentralization comes with its own problems. And part of the problem is coordination. If every single person is autonomous, then coordination becomes a problem. And one of the biggest problems that we have with governance is trying to get people interested enough to go to the forum and start reading, giving feedback, getting their votes in. So voter apathy is one of the biggest issues that we have with governance. And so all of us need to play a part, because if we're trying to be decentralized, part of the decentralized is to have the ownership to make sure that we are part of the voting process. That's one problem. The second problem is the fact that if we are in a forum vote, then it's one person, one vote, which seems very fair. But if we go to a snapshot vote, then it changes the game theory, because if you are a whale and you have a lot of that particular token, in our case bank, then you have sway over the outcome of a snapshot vote. So those are two of the problems that we have trying to create a DAO, trying to create decentralization and an autonomous way of working. So, and this is new. We are in a, like David and Ryan always say, we are in a new frontier, and we're learning as we go. So the more people know about governance, more people know about why we need to actually go and vote, why we need to get our voices heard, the better. Anyone has got anything to add to that? Nobody?
Well,
Can I ask the question then? Yeah, go ahead, Ernest.
I don't know if this is a distraction or not, but so the way you explained like the proposal process for and how it goes to snapshot and everything is how it's supposed to work. However, for the last 2 seasons, uh, the guild budget proposals haven't actually needed to be proposals. Um, like 3 or 4 guilds didn't even have a poll on their last budget proposal, which means it's not a proposal because like nobody, it's not actually asking anything for people to vote on. And none of the guild budget proposals met quorum. Some of the guild budget proposals only had 12 people or less voting on them. So it's it there are their own issues with decentralization, and it is difficult. But that's why it takes people to be knowledgeable about the process and to participate in it, so that we can actually be in accordance with our own governance policies.
Totally agree. The other problem is that sometimes, especially if the proposal comes from a deaf guild or it comes from Daolations, a particular, how do you say, something that we're not familiar with. Like the recent proposal that was passed was actually to change the way coordinate rounds are held. And there was some sort of a technical calculation on exactly why that is better than something else. And that was put on the proposal. And sometimes I think we need people and to explain what it is while it's on the proposal forum, to maybe do it on a community call. If it's important enough, we need people to make other people understand, because we need to overcome voter apathy. That is the problem. So it would be good. So this is what, like I said, we are in the new frontier. We're just learning this thing. We're just trying to figure it out. And we need to get people in to start being actively involved in voting to make decentralization work, is what I'm saying.
Yep, that's most of the work. It's probably about a third of the work.
Yes. Yeah. And for those people who are interested in governance, is it the DAO stewards are actually talking about doing like a really deep dive and education into the different levels of governance. And so if you want to learn how to write a proposal or get into a little bit more of governance, try to contact the DAO stewards and see whether you can start doing, helping them out with that. Again, it's all a starting process, so I'm not very familiar with writing proposals, but I'd love to learn. And so we can just get our hands dirty and start trying it out. The thing that Ernest is really good at explaining too, right, is that there is another level of coordination that we're talking about game theory. We're talking about if you have many people with different, interest and the power to manipulate, how do you get a group of people to coordinate such that you work for the greater good rather than work for your own individual benefit? And that is the other thing that a DAO has to overcome. How do we get over problems with coordination? Because if you've been in the DAO long enough, it is crazy, the decentralization. But it's brilliant and beautiful at the same time, because people can just come up with anything that they want. But there's also a bit of dilution that goes on. And this is what we're basically trying to figure out going forward. So Anybody's got anything to say? Any comments? Did it help? Did it confuse?
Well done. I have something to say. Well done, Quietfox. It said something about okay, for example, if the proposal is like 25 banks or 25,000 banks or something, you mentioned that maybe there are some number of people that has to vote. Okay, so but what came to my mind is, what if the number of people are not up to that number? What happens? The number of people that in the particular guild to vote, they are not up to that number.
Then it doesn't pass.
Okay.
Or it shouldn't pass.
Okay.
Because I don't know whether Ernest, you want to tell them what happened with the quorum vote and why we brought it down to 66%?
Well,
I think you know the story better than me.
Because I was looking at, if you are looking at percentage, it could be 66% of, even if there are 10 people. But if you are looking at number, it won't work that way.
Well, no, it is 66% of a quorum, dependent on the amount of banks somebody is asking for. Yeah, go ahead, Ernest.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just say, so it's important to understand the proposal framework process that we use in the DAO and the guild. And it's pretty standard framework, but essentially you start with an idea, you try to build consensus or interest around that idea, and then you suggest or propose an idea or action. And if you don't meet quorum, or there's not enough interest or enough votes, then that group, that interest group, let's say, then they have to relook at, well, do we need to do more education? Is this something that maybe people just don't understand? And so there's not interest or consensus because people don't understand things. So when a vote, before it passed, before you do an official vote, this is why it's important to understand how to build consensus around your proposal. Whether it's a guild proposal or a DAO proposal, you need a certain level of engagement, in order for that decision, to be made and then actions to follow. And if you just don't have that support, your group has to decide to either go back to the drawing board or, re-educate people, or they just scrap it, and say that, there's just not enough interest in this idea and, go do something else. So that's the thing about voting, is it's the step where the social agreement is either ratified or rejected. And just because a proposal is rejected doesn't mean that it can't go back to the building consensus phase or accept the feedback, and propose it, again later, So for guilds for guilds in the DAO, there's, different requirements that you need for consensus, and some guilds may handle things a little bit differently than others, but the framework is always the same. You go from an idea to building consensus, accepting feedback, and self-regulating your own group, and then you go into a proposal process. That proposal process gives you more feedback, and then you either start back over and re-go through that feedback and development process, or you go to your proposal, it gets approved, and you launch.
The gray area, just adding on to what Ernest is saying, the gray area is actually the soft consensus, because we don't really have any particular hard and fast rule about the definition do is put in a proposal and put it on the forum board. So those are the things that we're working through. And we have definitely have proposals that did not go through because there was literally nobody, very few people voted for it. And yeah, right. So if you feel that your idea is really, really good, then just go back to the drawing board and see if we can build up interest. It all comes back to voting. If the soft consensus was done well, and there were enough people within the DAO that knew about it, then when it goes to the forum, they will be able to vote because they know what they're voting for. That's where the voter apathy comes in, and the knowledge of what is on the forum.
Martin, I have not voted. Feel good the proposal. Don't understand it. It's always advisable to ask questions. Usually are very good detail. Why after the a couple times back in. Yeah, oh yeah,
Marvel, you're breaking up. Can you come closer to the mic?
I'll try. Just comment. Oh,
No, still pretty bad. That's a pity because Marvel's quite active on the forum, and he would have been able to give us a little bit of his outlook on it. Anyone else would like to ask a question or make a comment? If not, we can end this. I have got the names of everybody who's here, and I will send you a copy of the cheat sheet with the handbook and the forum proposal format and a few other things that might be of interest to you. And also to invite you to tomorrow's session that the Education Guild is holding, which is actually a knowledge session on the Lido Finance protocol, and it will be conducted by Lido Finance. So please join us at the same time in the same channel tomorrow for that. And if there isn't, yes, Justin, you unmuted. Would you like to ask a question?
No, I was just going to say thanks for taking your time to do this. I appreciated it.
Oh, thank you. So if there's nothing else, we'll end the session. Thank you so much for coming. One more thing. For all those people who have attended, I'm also going to be sending off a feedback form to everyone. So if you can, please fill it in. Let us know whether you like things like this, whether there's any other sessions that you would like us to hold. And then we can actually work on it. So thanks for everybody for coming. Much appreciated. See you around the DAO. Take care. Be DAO strong. Yeah.